Hey folks, this is Rhykker with information on the price and release date for the Necromancer pack. We'll go over all those details in this video, and we'll also answer the question of whether it is worth it to buy the Necromancer pack. So first off, the Rise of the Necromancer character pack is arriving June 27th on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. That's next Tuesday. That's just 1 week heads up. That's a lot sooner than we anticipated. Remember, Season 10 is ending this Friday, June 23rd, but the next Season 11 is only starting in July. July 20th, not early July, which would make sense. So we have about a month of downtime between seasons. We thought this was because a Necromancer was going to release towards the start of Season 11, that we're going to have another month of beta testing, but that is not the case. Beta ended yesterday. It's certainly weird to have this huge gap, but more on that later. So the Necromancer pack will cost $15, or 15 whatever currency units you use in your region, euros, Monopoly money. And in addition to gaining access to the Necromancer class, what this purchase gets you is a cosmetic pet, cosmetic wings, banner, sigil, axe, and all that, portrait frame, a pennant, and 2 character slots and 2 additional stash tabs. Asterisks, these stash tabs are not available on console for whatever reason. So that's what the $15 gets you, but in addition to that, patch 2.6 also has other features that will be free for everyone. That includes challenge rifts, which we've discussed in a number of videos. It includes the new zone, the Shrouded Moors, the new zone, the Temple of the Firstborn, as well as Realms of Fate, which are these sort of pretty cool, weird regions that are like a whole bunch of other zones stuck together. There won't be a box release for the Necromancer pack. You'll buy it directly in the new in-game store if you're on PC, or for Xbox and PS4, you'll do it through the Microsoft and PlayStation Store respectively. Now, a little while ago, we also spoke about a leak of the Diablo 3 Eternal collection that has turned out to be exactly what we predicted it would be, which is just a bundle for console. It includes Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil as well as a Necromancer pack, and the introductory price will be only $40. Eventually, it'll be marked up to $60. So again, the release date was a little surprising, quite a bit surprising in fact, but the price is exactly what we've been predicting for months, and that brings us into the inevitable question, is it worth buying? So, I'm a consumer advocate, in that before you put down any money on a product, I want to ensure that you are armed with as much information and knowledge as possible to make an informed purchasing decision. As much as possible, I try to discourage people from pre-ordering things, and I think it's pretty skeevy that a lot of companies effectively psychologically manipulate you into pre-ordering by offering exclusive items, exclusive anything, to pre-order people. I feel that the only time someone should pre-order something is if they don't care how the product turns out. They don't care whether it's going to be complete garbage, that they would have purchased it anyway regardless of the reviews. I'm not saying I encourage people to do this, but I know some people are like that. They'll buy regardless. I worked as a video game journalist for a number of years. I wrote for Gamefront and The Escapist, and I reviewed video games. And it would be heartbreaking to read comments from people that either pre-ordered or purchased on day one without reading any reviews and being unhappy with the product when there are people literally being paid to review products. It's like, if you had just waited to read my review, maybe I could have saved you some money. So in the case of the Necromancer pack, thankfully there's no pre-order bonus here. And the new season won't start for a month after the release, so there's really no time pressure whatsoever to purchase the Necromancer pack on release day. That means that you folks have time to wait for the reviews. And this is something that I always advocate for. And don't just wait for one review, wait to read a bunch of reviews from different sources. Wait to hear what the professional reviewers have to say. Wait to hear what the community has to say. Everyone has a bias, and the best way for you to develop an informed opinion is to listen to what everyone is saying and look for commonalities. Understand which source is a better representation of how you'll feel about the product. If you're a die-hard fan of the game, listen to what other die-hard fans are saying, rather than professional reviewers who tend to give reviews for more general audiences. If you aren't a die-hard fan, then vice versa. If the die-hard fans seem to be upset over something, but general reviewers are giving positive reviews, then it's likely that you won't even get to experience what the die-hard fans are complaining about. But again, what's most important here is that you are making an informed purchasing decision. Don't buy something because someone recommends that you buy something. It's your money, not theirs. And how you choose to spend your money may not be in line with how they choose to spend theirs. Instead, pay more attention to the content of a review, and not the final score or recommendation. Things that the reviewer didn't like may not bother you, and things that the reviewer did like may not interest you. Now, I know that's not a satisfactory answer to the question, should I buy the Necromancer pack? So let me give you my personal opinion, which again I hope you use as just one data point amongst others. And the main point I'll bring up here is entertainment per dollar. I like to break down my entertainment purchases into how many hours of entertainment I get per dollar spent. Watching a movie, for instance, in a theater is generally around $10 for 2 hours of entertainment. If I ever feel a game would give a worse dollars to fun value than this, like a $60 game that only gives 4 hours of fun, then I absolutely do not recommend it. Now, this also calls into question what defines entertainment or fun. A game can take 20 hours to complete, but that doesn't mean it's 20 hours of fun. There's diversion, which is just something that occupies your time and distracts you from that paper you should be writing. And then there's fun, which is something that you are actively enjoying. So, for instance, I've easily spent over 2,000 hours in Diablo 3. But that's not 2,000 hours of fun. Some portion of those hours were just diversion. Stuff that I had to do in order to get to the fun parts. Or stuff that I realized I wasn't really enjoying. Now, even if we say that half my time was just diversion, which is likely an overestimate. Hell, let's say that I just got 1,000 hours of fun from Diablo 3. I would absolutely say that I got my money's worth. So to finally circle back to the Necromancer pack, I believe that as long as Diablo 3 is a game that you've enjoyed at some point in time, and you aren't the type to only like playing one class, then you're guaranteed at least a few hours of entertainment from the Necromancer pack. Worst case scenario. To me, that's worth $15. Maybe to you, you want at least 100 hours of entertainment for $15. I don't know. We all value our time and money differently. For some people, the 2 extra stash tabs alone may be worth the $15. Now, all this said, I don't feel the Necromancer is quite ready for release. Is it ready enough for the average player? I suppose it is. The Necromancer is fun to play, he has cool and fun items, he feels polished, he looks amazing, but my big concern is endgame balance. How many viable endgame builds he has. When the Necromancer got removed from beta, a week or two ago, I was a little concerned that he wouldn't be coming back to beta. And when the Necromancer beta went down yesterday, I was filled with a little bit of dread. Now that it's basically been confirmed that we shouldn't expect any more balance changes until release, I'm a little disheartened. As it stands, the class has maybe 2 viable endgame builds, which honestly isn't worse than the other classes. It's about on par. So the Necro is not in a bad place at all, but it could have been in an amazing place. With the Necromancer, Blizzard had the opportunity to refine build balance until it had a greater number of viable endgame builds. I ideally wanted to see all 4 sets have a viable endgame build. The Necromancer could have served as a paragon of what internal class balance should be. Instead, we've just achieved the status quo. Yes, more balance changes can and will come after release, but it's a lot more difficult to balance once something goes live. At some point years ago, Blizzard decided that to balance, they're basically never going to nerf, except in rare circumstances, they're always going to buff. And this is what has led to the power creep over the years. I'm not saying I disagree with the buffing over nerfing mentality, but it forces you into a certain situation that makes it more difficult to balance. They could have nerfed all they wanted in beta. People understand, it's beta, it's okay, things are gonna get nerfed. I feel that Blizzard just ran up against a deadline. They ran up against the clock, and they figured, well, good enough, let's release it. And maybe this month between seasons, and I guess this is the best we can hope for, this month between Season 10 and 11 will be for kind of like an open beta where everyone could give in their feedback, and we'll maybe see some more balance tuning before Season 11 launches. Really, that's the best we can hope for right now. You see, a big issue that we had in beta was that there was this permanent invulnerability build that was alive for too long. I kept expecting it to be patched, and it only got patched towards the end of the beta, and then I feel we didn't get enough time to test the Necromancer more without that permanent invulnerability build. And just having that exist put a lot of focus on that build at the detriment of experimenting with other builds. I guess the good news here is that the Bone Storm build that we posted a couple weeks ago probably isn't getting nerfed, which is awesome. It's a super fun build, and it's definitely the build I'm going to run with on launch, but I really wish we could have seen 4 viable endgame builds, and I can't help but feel a personal sense of responsibility in this. I feel that there was more that I could have done. I wonder, should I have been more insistent? Should I have tried harder to get feedback across? I guess I just don't feel that my opinion is worth more than anyone else's, so if I see other people giving that same feedback that I want to give, I just don't feel a need to insist upon it. I figure, well, Blizzard is aware of the issue and they'll resolve it. And I think I also felt that we just had more time. I thought after the permanent vulnerability build was fixed, resolved, that we would have more time to test after that. I didn't feel that there was a rush to get in our final bit of testing, and I don't know, I wonder if being more insistent on certain things would have helped, I don't know. I guess I just can't help but wonder what could have been. But I guess we'll see what surprises, if any, we might have when the pack is actually released, and whether we will see some balance changes before Season 11. And that wraps up this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. Do you think you'll be buying the Necromancer pack? Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch and Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykker's Raiders for more Diablo content.